G'day, Josh here, and today I'm going to be talking about how to make money from the updated auction house. So if you hadn't been made aware already, the auction house did recently undergo some changes and it's now a lot more accessible in terms of selling cards. It used to be near impossible to sell cards, especially program elites, but now you can quite easily sell them, which is fantastic. There still is an EA bot that acts as a middleman, so to speak, and handles all interactions, so you're never actually selling to another human. I sell to the bot and then I buy from the bot, so I'm only ever seeing all these cards have been listed by the bot. These are cards that the bot has bought from other humans, so you do have to keep that in mind, but it's definitely a lot more usable now, which is fantastic. EA have been listening to all of our feedback and made significant changes, and you can actually sell cards on the auction house, and also, and the focus of this video, you can actually snipe and make money from the auction house if you pay attention and have a think about what you're doing. So I'm going to talk through a bit of that process, because yesterday while watching some television I spent a couple of hours sniping, and I at the time I had $450,000, and you can see now I've got over $950,000. So I actually increased my bankroll by $500K or $500,000 in a couple of hours last night, just sniping and reselling program elites. So the first thing you need to be aware of is that the auction house resets, or it shows recently listed cards, I should say, every 5 minutes or just over 5 minutes. So what that means is if we're looking for a specific, let's say we're looking for, we'll just do 80 overall elites. So 80 overall elites, and let's bring the price right down to like 35,000. That should filter out tons of them. And you can see all of these items sold, and there's one Muggsy Bogues here that's been up for less than a couple of minutes. He would have been listed at 4 hours, so he's a brand new posting as well. And in fact, if I hit refresh here, it might not be long until he actually vanishes. But if we were to keep hitting refresh, at some point in time, within a 5-minute period, all these sold cards would vanish and the most recently listed batch of cards would show up. So it's important to know what time that happens. I call that the drop time, what time the recently posted cards will drop into the auction house. So when you're sniping, you need to be aware of when that drop time is. Have a little clock or something. Obviously it needs to count seconds as well as minutes, so you can be aware of when that drop time is, and that way whatever you're doing, every 5 minutes you've got that time there, you see it, the drop is coming up, you jump into the auction house, you start refreshing, and if you time it right, you'll see new cards drop. You'll be able to snipe a couple of them. Now, these particular cards don't necessarily resell for that much more than 35K. Any of the room 3 elites would, but there are no room 3 elites here. There are only room 1 and 2 elites. So you're not actually going to be making much money from sniping these specific cards, which is why that Muggsy Bogues card is still actually up, because that is essentially what he's worth at the moment. So you're not sniping these. The definition of a snipe is when you actually buy a card for well under its market value, which means you can then sell it for a profit. And that includes the 10% auction house tax that you do incur when making sales. You're still making a profit because you sniped it for a low enough price. I am just going to keep hitting refresh for a little bit. Hopefully, the drop, I haven't been monitoring, I haven't been on the auction house that much at all today, so I don't actually know what time the drop time is at the moment, but I have been talking for a couple of minutes, so it should happen relatively soon. So that's the fundamentals of understanding how to snipe in the current auction house, understanding what the drop time is and the definition of a snipe, so you are actually making money and not losing money. And the second thing, and this is the challenging thing, and that is making a filter, and that is customizing search parameters essentially to filter out cards so that you're only seeing high value cards that you're specifically trying to snipe, and you're not seeing any of the other cards that you don't want to purchase, because sniping happens very quickly. You've got to have very quick fingers, you've got to be right on top of it, and so you don't necessarily have time to be analyzing which cards are worth it and which cards aren't. You just want to get rid of all the cards that aren't worth it and only be viewing cards that are definitely going to make you money, so you don't risk missing on the snipe because you take too long to decide, or you don't risk losing money because you buy the wrong card. So that is an important element of sniping, building a filter. And I am actually going to talk you through the filter that I used yesterday. It doesn't have much more shelf life left, unfortunately, because the Halloween program is coming to an end and the Room 3 Elites are slowly dropping in price. The downside of revealing filters on a video is that everyone then jumps on that filter and it makes it much harder, if not impossible, for everyone to use the filter, because the benefit of coming up with your own filter, and here we go, there's that drop time. So the drop time is right now, and in 5 minutes and 2 seconds from now, there'll be another drop, and so on and so forth. You can see that cards are already selling. As I hit refresh, we've already lost a couple of those Room 2 Elites. They quickly sold. So yeah, sharing a filter in a video like this makes it near impossible for everyone to then use that filter. It kind of ruins it, because then a whole bunch of viewers are on the auction house using that same filter, and it's no longer a unique filter just for you or just for a couple of people. And competition makes sniping really, really hard. So not only am I going to reveal the filter that I was using, but I'm actually going to talk through my thought process and how I came up with the filter. And hopefully that enables you to sort of have a bit of critical thought, and when new promos drop, perhaps come up with your own filters, and that way there'll be limited competition, which maximizes the amount of potential earnings you can make. So what I was basing my filter on is the Room 3 Elites in Halloween. Now the Halloween program has this Halloween filter, but there's no way to filter for specific rooms, which is actually a good thing, because if it was easy to do, everyone will be on the Room 3 Elites and it would be really hard to snipe them. But because it's really hard to specifically target those Room 3 Elites, if we just narrow it down to 80 overall Halloween Elites, you'll see that we're getting all sorts of Room 1, Room 2, and the purple of Room 3, although none of those have shown up yet. We'll just swipe across till, there we go. So Derek Harper is the first Room 3 Elite. Now I'm mainly focused on the 80 overalls, and that's because when people are completing the Elite set, the 80 overall is the most commonly dropped, and they are the most likely to be listed for a price that's much under market value, therefore a snipeable price. So what I then did was I scrolled through, so let's limit it to 80 overalls. And I know that there's 3 possible 80 overalls that come from Room 3. So we're gonna slide on through, and I'm gonna show you the 3, even though I know what they are in my mind. There's the first one, Steven Adams. There's another one, Nicholas Batum, and hopefully in a second we'll see the third, Mike Conley. There he is. So there's 3 possible elites. Now we have to come up with a filter that only shows us these 3 elites. So we start looking at things like their position. Conley's a point guard, Batum's a small forward, and of course Steven Adams is a center. So let's turn off the shooting guard and power forward positions, because we don't have any cards that come up under that position. But you'll notice that we're still having Room 1 and 2 Elites showing up. So the next thing we want to do is filter by team. So we actually want Steven Adams plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder, Nicholas Batum plays for the Charlotte Hornets, and Mike Conley plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. So let's narrow down the teams. So now we're only seeing cards in those positions and from those 3 teams. But we still have Muggsy Bogues, so that's no good. So we've still got a Room 1 Elite that we don't want. So that is not ideal at all. The way we handle that is we actually, and the way I was handling it is, unfortunately, sometimes there won't be a way you can perfectly target all of the elites you're after. So we just turn off the point guard position, and we're no longer interested in Memphis. So Conley is going to be removed from the filter. So we'll just be seeing Steven Adams and Nicholas Batum. But if we scroll across enough, there is actually another card that will show up, and I can't remember what card it is, and it's a higher overall card from another room, but it's still not necessarily worth a whole bunch. So the way I was eliminating that is I was using the letter M. M for Steven Adams and M for Nicholas Batum. So they both have an M in their name. We chuck that in there, and now we're only getting 2 very targeted, very specific Room 3 elites, and I'm not risking any other elites popping up in his filter. So I'm not going to accidentally make a mistake. There's no way I can choose an elite that I'm not interested in. And now it's just a matter of finding the price that they're currently selling for, and then figuring out a price that's essentially a snipe. So their prices dropped and dropped and dropped. I was selling them yesterday for about 65K. The bot then marks it up a little bit, so I think they were going for a little bit more than that. But you can see that there are ones that are sitting here for 61K now that are untouched. So as more and more people build these elites, their value decreases. So there's a snipe there. We can actually see that one sold for 36K, but they're sitting there for around that 51K one will sell pretty soon, but 57K is probably about the selling point, 57, 58K. So any that are around that price are definitely not snipes, because if you buy that and then sell it for the same price, you'll take a hit in terms of the 10% auction house fee. So if the average selling price right now is about 57K, if we take into account the auction house fee, which is 10%, that would take a 57K card down to about 51, just over 51K. So, and you want a little bit of profit on top of that as well, a little bit of wiggle room as the price continues to drop. So you probably want to set your max price at about 40K. That allows you enough room to make profit. If it is a 40K snipe, not a problem. If it's cheaper than that, then you're absolutely making bank. Now, I'm not sure why that Batum card has vanished. Sometimes the auction house is a little bit funny like that. The Batum card was less than 40, I thought. Wasn't it like 36? Why did that vanish? Let's put that back up to 61K. Where did that Nicholas Batum card go? Or did the auction, no, it was Adams, 51K. So we actually just had a new drop. That's what it was. I wasn't paying attention to the time at all. So that particular Steven Adams card, that wouldn't have been a snipe, because it's not cheap enough to make money when you consider the auction house tax and the slight markup of the bot. So you actually need to definitely be quite determined and have a maximum cap in mind, and then set that maximum cap. So for me, at this, given all the information I have right now, it would be 40K. I would set that price at 40K, not 400K, that's too many zeros. And then I would have a clock app up on my computer or on some other sort of time-keeping device, and every 5 minutes, I would jump back in, I'd hit refresh a whole bunch of times, and then I'd tap and quickly buy anything that dropped under that price. You're not going to get everything that appears, because there will be other people that are sniping as well. But yesterday I got a whole bunch, and in fact I just sold the very last card. This wasn't one that I sniped. This is actually one that I built in I think I got it from the exchange set. But you can see that he went there for 58K. And in fact, as I claim that, I am for the very first time this season over 1 million coins. And that is, this time yesterday I was under 500K, and now I'm over 1 million. So this is the exact technique I was using yesterday, just while watching some TV shows. Every 5 minutes, I'd jump in the auction house, refresh, snipe and sell. I wasn't necessarily getting something every drop. I would say every 2 or 3 drops, I would get a card or two. I would list those and make maybe 10 to 20K profit, depending on the snipe price. So it's definitely attainable. It's a little bit hard now as the Halloween program winds down on this specific filter, but I hope that this video has given you the tools to understand how to build your own filter, and that way when a future program comes out, and especially one that the specific cards that are worth a lot aren't necessarily easily filterable, then you can have a bit of a think about how to create a custom filter that only you will be on and make some profit by sitting in the auction house and sniping. I hope this video has been helpful. Please give it a thumbs up if it was, and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future content. Thanks for watching.